All right, back at it again. We're here to start the third round. I guess this is Washington's third pick. Who'd they get in this time? I don't even remember. I don't remember who they got in the first and second round at this point. I guess we could take a look if we really wanted to. I wish this went faster. What? This feels like it goes so slow, given the circumstances. The second round, they got a cornerback. And a right offensive line, or not even, that's not even, can't be offensive, because it's defense. What am I talking about? I don't know what the O stands for. Right outside? That's definitely what it stands for. Right outside linebacker. They got a linebacker. They got Tremaine Edmonds. They got an outside linebacker. Outside linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds in the first round. They got a cornerback in the second round. So they're defensive minded. Hey, us on the 49ers, we had 3 picks, 2 of them in the second round. All we've got are defensive players. I'm not going to do this for every team that picks in the third round. I guess I'll just start with Washington here because I've already started. I'll start because I've already started. The Redskins, they took Jaire Alexander in the second round. So who are they getting in the third round? Who's it going to be?
The Giants are now on the clock.
A defensive tackle. So, yep, they stay drafting for defense. I don't know if your offense was doing that hot last year either, Washington. I guess they really want to focus on their defense. Paul. They took the 4th guy on the board with the 3rd guy still available. So this is Harrison Phillips, who in real life went to the Bills. Defensive tackle. Right. Yeah. So a guy in the center of the defensive line, on the line of scrimmage. All right, Giants. I want to see who the Giants got in the second round because we know they got Josh Rosen. They got the first quarterback in the draft with Josh Rosen, so they fucked that all up. Little do they know. They also got a cornerback in the second. So who did that end up being? Mike Hughes. Can't say I'm familiar with Mike Hughes. So who they getting this time? A tight end is still yet to get drafted, which is crazy. Oop. It's not what I wanted to do.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Outside linebacker. So that ends up being Obo Akaranko, who originally went to the Rams. Now you're on the Giants. Godspeed. Damn, we got a pick here in the third round as well, an early pick. I guess we got it from the Bears. Our coach he made some moves for this draft. These are probably picks that were traded away before this game came out, and they're already pre-built into the game, which is cool. I think that's probably the case, maybe. I don't know. Okay, let's see who we get. Who's our fourth pick in the draft? We've gotten nothing. We've gotten all defensive players so far. I think someone for the line, someone as a linebacker, a cornerback.
The Colts are now on.
Wow, we got a tight end, and we did not even. We have George Kittle. Our other tight ends are solid. Why the fuck did we get a tight end? Oh my god. I mean, we got the. I guess we just saw the first tight end was still available, so we might as well take him. So this ends up being Hayden Hurst, which I don't think Hayden Hurst was too good. I think the tight ends that go after him are better. Like, Hayden Hurst was the first tight end to get drafted, I do believe. He went in the first round, was drafted by the Ravens. I don't think much became of him, unfortunately. Sort of a bust. He's on the 49ers. Alright, the Indianapolis Colts.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
They get a right guard to try and help out Kirk. To try and help out Andrew Luck. I don't know what I'm going to do for Andrew Luck. I know I'm going to have to make a game time decision with them after this year, because in real life, Andrew Luck makes an unexpected retirement. After right before the season was getting ready to start, like a month before. So, like 2 days after me and my friends drafted for fantasy football, and that was funny. 'Cause someone drafted him, obviously. So I'm going to get game time decision. Maybe I'll look at how many times he was sacked. Maybe I'll look and see how good the Colts did in the season before. And like, I'll force him to retire if I decide to. After the draft, after the next draft. So who? Damn, this is the sixth right guard to be drafted. I don't even see this guy. I don't even see this guy written down anywhere. Benedict. Oh wait, never mind. I'm an idiot. Hold on. I fucked this up. This is just the third right guard to be drafted. I have like 10 names written down, but there must have been only 5 right guards available in this draft. What the fuck? Oh. Now there must have been only like 5 right guards, or just a total of 10 outside guards that were drafted in the NFL in real life. Yeah, I'm fucking this all up. There's plenty of right guards available in this fake draft. There's 11 of them. There's 11 of them here, and then left guards there's 10 of them, so 21 total, but I was only able to get 6 left guards written down and 5 right guards. And in the NFL, they're not listed on the ESPN site as specifically left guards or right guards, just guards, I guess. So I had to split them up accordingly. Like the first guy that was ranked the highest that got drafted, I put him as left guard, I think, or maybe it was a right guard. And then I just kind of went back and forth from there. Like if the first guy wrote down as a right guard, then the second guy was left guard, the next guy right, second guy left, and it just keeps going like that. But there's only 11 total guards that got drafted in the NFL in real life for this year. And but on here there's a total of 21, but not all of them will probably get drafted. Anyway, the Colts decided to get a right guard. They got Braden Smith, who originally did get drafted by the Colts. Is this the first? I feel like this is a first. This is the first time that the person that was just drafted, who it ends up being, was drafted by the same team in real life. Braden Smith. In real life, he was drafted by the Colts, and for this game, he ends up going to the Colts as well. Neat. I knew it was probably going to happen at least once or twice. All right, Buccaneers, Tom.
The Buccaneers have made their selection.
And
What can we tell you about them? That's why we have Adam Schefter.
Following a relatively quiet last season in school, he came into off-season workouts and was mediocre in every appearance, but promised to show improvement in his pro day. However, he was unable to follow through and again looked average across the board. Matt Miller tells me that besides the lackluster offseason, he's at tight end with no major weak areas, and the team could use a dependable player at the tight end position. I think he'll work out fine for them.
well, that wasn't a whole lot of praise right there, but this ends up being a solid tight end for the Buccaneers. They get Dallas Goedert, who was originally drafted by the Eagles. Now he's on the Buccaneers. Our Chiefs, who are they taking?
The Bengals.
Gosh. There's 3 tight ends. Like it feels like they're all in a row. No tight ends the whole draft, and now 3 out of the next 4 picks. Well, the Chiefs, they take the 4th guy. The Chiefs get Mark Andrews. Why would the Chiefs get a tight end? They already had Travis Kelce. Well, now they got Mark Andrews too. And that might just be the best tight end in the draft. Dallas Goedert was probably the 2nd. Mike Gesicki, he's in here too. He might be the 3rd, maybe arguably the 2nd. So Mark Andrews is going to the Chiefs. Alright, so who are the Bengals going to take?
The Lions are now on the clock.
They take a left tackle. A lot of them have already been drafted. Holy shit. I'm not making a mistake like I did last time with the right guards. The left tackles, 6 of them have been drafted. And the Bengals get the 7th guy on the board, which ends up being Greg Sinnett, who originally went to the Ravens. Now he's with the division rival, the Bengals. Alright, the Lions.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
They got a left end for their defensive line. They get the fourth guy on the board. Breland Speaks, who originally went to the Chiefs. Now he's on the Lions. Breland Speaks. Can't say I'm too familiar with them. Alright, the Raiders.
The Rams are now on the clock.
Defensive tackle. This is Taven Bryan, who in real life went to the Jaguars. Alright, the Rams.
The Cardinals are now on the
Middle linebacker. So this is Josie Jewell. In real life, got drafted by the Broncos. Now he's on the Rams. To one of my division rivals. And now my other division rival, the Cardinals, they get a pick.
The Jets are now on the
Ooh, they take a QB. They got an aging quarterback. I'm surprised they didn't get one. I'm surprised they didn't get one already. We know in real life the Cardinals got... They took a QB in the first round and got Josh Rosen as the fourth QB to go. Well, now they have to settle for Cal Lauletta, who was originally drafted by the Giants. So I don't think that's going to do too much for him. Alright, the Jets.
The Texans are now on the clock.
Free safety. They get Terrell Edmonds, who originally went to the Steelers. I feel like he's pretty decent. Alright, the Houston Texans. Is this their first pick of the whole draft? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. I think it is. Which is crazy. Who did the Cardinals get in the first round? They got a defensive tackle. Dude, this is crazy. This is no faster. Alright, Texans. Who's your first pick in this whole draft?
The Saints are now on the clock.
A left tackle. Again, a shit ton of these have been picked. There's only one more I have left. There's only one more guy that got drafted in real life. But this ends up being a guy named Rick Leonard, who got drafted by the Saints. And I just don't know if that's going to be a good pick for you, Texans. Alright, the Saints, defending Super Bowl champions.
The Browns are now on the clock.
They must have got that pick from a trade. They got a right in. Did I say the Texans got someone for their defensive line? Yeah, I was just dead wrong. Because I'm an idiot. They got someone for their offensive line, right? Yeah, they got someone for their offensive line. Oh boy. Well, the Saints. Right in. Damn, they got Jalen Holmes, who originally went to the Vikings. Now he's on the Saints. This is somebody for their defensive line, though. The Browns. What is this? This is their 6th pick, ain't it?
The Falcons are now on the clock.
I can't believe the Browns didn't take a QB, because I don't think they got anybody. They got a tight end now. They took a tight end. This is Mike Gesicki for them. And every tight end that's left now, I don't recognize. I don't recognize them. So, well, late in this round, well, I don't know when he got drafted exactly, but he was the 12th best ranked tight end on the ESPN app that got drafted. That's Dalton Schultz. He turned out to be pretty decent, pretty solid. Man, at this rate, I don't even know if anybody's going to draft him at this rate. That's the bad thing. But, Mike Gesicki, he gets picked up by the Browns. The Falcons. And tight ends are just going like crazy now. This is crazy. Well, the Falcons, they get the 5th guy on the board. They're taking Chris Henderson, who originally went to the Jets. So anybody that originally goes to the Jets, you might be in trouble getting them fake teams in this game. I think I misspoke with his name. It's Chris Herndon, I believe. So that's a weird last name. Herndon, Herndon, Herndon. Panthers.
The Ravens.
Hey, oh my God, this is crazy. I don't know if this is just the game being stupid at this point. I fucked up. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with me? I'm fucking up left and right. Because the Falcons did not get Chris Herndon. They didn't get the 5th guy on the board. They took the 6th guy on the board. They took Jarrett Breener. He was 6th on the board. So that's Ian Thomas. The Falcons got Ian Thomas, who, funny enough, originally got drafted by the Panthers. That's who's going to the Falcons. Ian Thomas. Oh my God. The Panthers got the 5th guy on the board. It ends up being Chris Herndon, who originally went to the Jets. I gotta bring out the white out. While I wait for that to drop, let's just do a few more picks. I gotta wait on that to dry to write it down. To write down Panthers. But the Panthers, they get Chris Herndon. Ravens.
are now on the clock.
They take a left end. All right, I'm writing Panthers down now. All right, that worked out good. The Ravens get a left end. They get Josh Sweat. In real life, he was taken by the Eagles. Now he's on the Ravens. After the Ravens fumbled their QB pick, took Mason Rudolph when they could have had Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson. The Vikings.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Cornerback. First one in this round. This ends up being Duke Dawson, who was originally drafted by the Patriots. Okay. The Bills.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
They take a left tackle. They took a left tackle. They took the last left tackle that I had available. So I don't know if any more left tackles get drafted. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess it don't matter because I think everybody else, any other left tackles that get drafted are just gonna have to be busts. Because there were a few players I'm gonna have to take account for, some undrafted players that end up being pretty good. Undrafted players that made their way on the team's rosters and end up being pretty good. Philip Lindsay, Gus Edwards, Alan Lazard, Jeff Wilson Jr. Those are really the only four that are really notable. Anyway, the Bills get a guy named Jordan Mailata that was originally drafted by the Eagles. Probably in one of the late rounds when he now goes in the third round. The team's definitely going to get more left tackles. Who's even left at this point? Fucking 12 guys. They're just going to be busts, I guess. I just have to leave them blank. But the Bills got Jordan Mailata.
The Packers.
The Cowboys take a running back, a halfback rather. This is the first one after Saquon Barkley. This ends up being Sony Michel. Solid. There's better ones though, I think, that come later. Like Nick Chubb. Ronald Jones, maybe. Probably. I mean, Sony Michel was good for a few. He was solid for a few years, but I feel like he might be out of the league now. I'm not even sure. So this maybe not even a good pick then. Sony Michel is going to the Cowboys. I definitely recognize Sony Michel. All right, the Green Bay Packers.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Linebacker. This ends up being Shaquem Griffin, who was originally drafted by the Seahawks. He's on the Packers now. Tennessee Titans.
The Patriots are now on the clock.
A left end. Someone for their defensive line. A guy named Andrew Brown, who originally got drafted by the Bengals. So this guy and the last guy, there was somebody else ahead of them on the board that these teams could have gotten. So I am noticing these teams do kind of, they'll pick a guy one or two down on the board somewhat frequently. So that's cool. The New England Patriots.
The Seahawks
Ooh.
are now on the clock.
They take a wide receiver. Damn. I thought it was less wide receivers drafted than this, but 12 of them have been drafted now. Shit. I feel like this is the first one of this round. I think it is. The Patriots. They could have got a receiver that was listed before the one they got, but they took the second guy remaining on the list. This Armstrong guy, who ends up being Antonio Callaway, who was originally drafted by the Browns. Now he's on the Patriots. From the Browns to the Patriots, count your stars in this fantasy life. Antonio Callaway. Alright, the Seattle Seahawks.
The Dolphins are now on the
A middle linebacker. This ends up being Fred Warner, who I think is actually really good. I think so. He was originally drafted by the 49ers. Now he's on our division rival, the Seahawks. So Fred Warner. Wasn't there already a Wagner on the Seahawks? And now there's a Warner. Uh-oh. The Dolphins.
Packers are now on the clock.
They take a left end. This is Tyquan Lewis of the Colts. He goes to the Dolphins. Packers.
Are now on the clock.
They get a left tackle. Someone for their offensive line. Someone I do not have. So this just has to be blank. I already had the name written down. Andre McAfee. I'm just going to write a question mark before it. Any other left tackles, I have some space. I'll write a question mark beside them. I don't know if I should. Because on the next page, right tackle, I don't have space to write down 5 other names if I need to for that. I don't know what to tell you, Packers. I think that's just a throwaway pick. Oh, the Seahawks get another pick right here.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
A cornerback this time. A lot of cornerbacks that haven't been picked, game. Like, why don't we start picking them like crazy? I mean, there was 31 total that got drafted in real life. This only makes the 8th. How about we start picking them like crazy instead of left tackles? This ends up being Carlton Davis, who was originally drafted by the Buccaneers. Now he's on the Seahawks. Alright, who are we getting with our next pick? This is our 5th pick. Who is it?
The Chargers are now on the
Ooh, we take a running back. Ooh. Lester Sprint. This is Nick Chubb. We get Nick Chubb. That's crazy. Okay, solid running back. In real life, he went to the Browns. Now he's with us on the 49ers. Oh man, I wonder how he's going to stack up against the running backs we already have. Shit. The Chargers.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
A right end. This is Deshaun Hand. In real life, he went to the Lions. Now he's on the Chargers. Joining Lamar over there, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Hand. I don't know if, and if anybody else got drafted between them. The Jags. So what? Okay, last 2 picks of this round.
The Saints are now on the clock.
The Jaguars take a receiver. Holy shit! The Jaguars took a guy way down. Like 1 through 12 that were already picked. Number 14 was picked. 13 was still available. 15 through 19 was still available. The Jaguars took a guy at number 20. Like this guy might be a diamond in the rough for this game, but he might not be anymore. This ends up being Marcel Aitman, who in real life got drafted by the Raiders. But now you're on the Jaguars. Alright, the Saints.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Safety. I don't even know. I don't know. I think I was saying last time. I think I've been saying super safety like it's a fact that this is called super safety. I don't even know if it's called super safety. You know, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? It really might not be called super safety. I don't know what it's I don't know. I don't know what it stands for then. I don't know. But this ends up being Marcus Allen. In real life was drafted by the Steelers. He goes to the Saints here. I don't know. And now we start the 4th round. This is the round in the middle of the draft. Alright, Redskins, who you taking? The team that doesn't exist anymore in real life. If I could change their name and their logo in the game, I might would. Just keep it like real life. But whatever.
The Giants are now on the clock.
And there's another receiver that goes. Okay, so this ends up being the guy that was 13th. This is Michael Gallup, who originally went to the Cowboys. and now he's going to their arch nemesis, the Redskins. Michael Gallup, he was solid when he was in the league, but now I think he's out of the league now. It's just kind of crazy how some guys are in the league for a little bit. They seem to do pretty solid, pretty good, and then all of a sudden it's like they're gone. They just disappear. I don't know. Those are the guys that kind of make me wonder, like, what am I going to do for them? You know, I was kind of on the mindset of, like, I found a website where I could look up a player, and it tells me what their Madden rating is and all that, but then it only does it for the current game. So if you look up a player that's not in the games anymore, you won't find shit. So I don't know what I'm going to do for guys. I'm going to have to figure shit out, because I don't know what I'm going to do with Michael Gallup. Like, a lot of these players, I kind of just want to use their rating they have today. For better or for worse. Michael Gallup's not going to have a rating today, so what do I do for him? Is he just a quote-unquote bust for this fantasy reality? This fantasy... This alternate reality? We'll find out. There's another wide receiver later on that got drafted by the Cowboys, just a few picks away. That was okay. I don't know if he's still in the league though. The next pick, who do the Giants get? Ooh, they take a receiver as well. They get Jordan Lasley, who originally went to the Ravens. The Bears.
The Colts are now on the clock.
A right guard. Only the second one left I had to give. This ends up being a guy named Colby Gossett. In real life, drafted by the Vikings. Now he's drafted by their division rival, the Bears. The Colts.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
They get a guy named B.J. Hill, who was drafted by the Giants. Now on the Colts. The Buccaneers.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
Free safety. Yeah, what? That's what FS stands for, free safety. What's SS stand for? It's definitely not super safety. Safety? Free. What's the opposite of free? Whipped. Strapped down, strapped safety. I don't know, I'm just fucking around. So this ends up being Kaiser White. In real life, drafted by the Chargers. Alright, the Chiefs. Who you taking?
The Bengals are now on.
Ooh, they get a cornerback. This ends up being Anthony Averett, He was originally drafted by the Ravens. Finds his way on the Chiefs. The Bengals.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Darren Armstrong Jr., who was originally drafted by the Cowboys. This guy might be decent. Pretty decent. I don't know if... Dorrance Armstrong. I think this guy, he might still be playing. He might be pretty solid. Drafted by the Cowboys in real life. Now he's on the Bengals. Like, he's listed as Dorrance Armstrong Jr., but I think he just drops the junior in the league. Like, I don't think junior is on the back of his jersey. I'm gonna have to look into these guys that have junior or second or the third in their names and see if it's actually on their jersey. Like, Patrick Mahomes is a second, but he kind of drops the second in the league. It just goes by Patrick Mahomes. And that's Mahomes, just Mahomes, no Roman numeral 2 on the back of his jersey. So anyway, I think Dorrance Armstrong's going to be the same way. But he's on his way to the Bengals. The Lions.
The Raiders.
They take a middle linebacker. Budge, who becomes Michael Kaiser, originally drafted by the Rams. Raiders.
Adam, what can you tell us about the Raiders' newest player?
He's a running back that has amazed and confused scouts and draft experts all season due to his inconsistent play. Some weeks, he looked like the most dominant back in the nation, and others, he struggled moving the ball past the line of scrimmage. High-level sources I spoke with attributed much of his inconsistency to a poor work ethic in the film room, specifically not reading blocks or understanding cutback lanes in favor of trying to run outside. If these reports were true, this coaching staff is going to have quite a project on its hands.
So the Raiders end up getting Nick Baldwin. I think he was the only fullback drafted in real life this year. Fullbacks are gonna be so weird. There's other fullbacks here, but he was the only one that was drafted in real life. Hold up, pause. Yeah. Pierce Lewis. I don't know what I've done for fullbacks and why I did it like this. I have Nolan Boyle as who ends up being Nick Baldwin. We'll just have to see if any of these other guys get drafted. I don't know, I should not have done it like this. I'm thinking maybe the guy who got drafted was ranked as the 4th best fullback, so I wrote him down as the 4th fullback. I don't even know. I shouldn't have done it like that. I should have just made him the number 1. If no other fullback gets drafted, I'll make this fullback Nick Baldwin, but I think no matter what, like, Nick Baldwin is not Like that's a name I'm not familiar with. I think that's somebody who doesn't really do much anything in the league. Pierre Lewis. Question mark? I'm putting question marks everywhere. I wrote down Pierre Lewis here. Question marks everywhere. Nick Baldwin. We'll just say for now this is Nick Baldwin, the Raiders got. Let's skip ahead in the draft.
The Bears are now on the clock.
The Rams take a halfback. This ends up being Darius Geis. So I think he's decent too. He's solid. Originally drafted by the Redskins. He's now with our division rivals, the Rams. The Bears,
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
they take a cornerback here. It ends up being Nick Nelson, in real life drafted by the Raiders. Now he's with the Bears. The Chiefs.
The Texans.
They take a receiver here. So the Chiefs get, with this pick, the Chiefs get Cedric Wilson, who was originally drafted by the Cowboys. He did okay. Not sure if he's still in the league now. Interesting.
All right, let's go to Adam Schefter, who's got more on this.
One of this draft's toughest players, here's a guy who played the majority of his final collegiate season with a broken foot. Long suffering with plantar fasciitis in the affected foot, doctors discovered several hairline fractures across the first, second, and third metatarsals during a routine therapy session. Translation?
Foot.
His foot was essentially shattered. Recovery took months, and he used the time wisely, studying film of just about every NFL team and preparing for interviews. No surprise that he blew scouts and even a few GMs away with his knowledge of NFL offensive schemes. This is an intelligent, hard-nosed defensive back who's going to make his fair share of big plays before his professional career is over.
So this pick ends up getting the Texans Troy Apke, A-P-K-E, Troy Apke, who originally went to the Redskins. Now he's with the Texans.
The Browns are now on the clock.
The Broncos. So the Broncos, they kind of go down the list here and get, this ends up being Jamon Moore. In real life got drafted by the Packers.
All right, team is now off the clock. Adam Schefter, can you tell us about their newest player?
It's a tough pill to swallow when you are doing everything you can to prepare for the combine and you push yourself to the point of injury. That was his case just 2 months ago. And once he was injured, It was goodbye to pre-draft evaluations for him. His draft stock may have taken a hit, but it didn't stop this team from picking him up. He should be good to go before camp, and it's great to see someone take a chance on him.
So the Browns end up getting Tavarius Moore, who was drafted in real life by the 49ers.
The Browns are now on the clock.
So with this pick, the Browns end up getting Nathan Shepard, who was originally drafted by the Jets. Now he's on the Falcons here. And here are the Browns again.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Only the second left guard to be picked. This ends up being Connor Williams. This guy was drafted in real life by the Cowboys. I don't think he's too great, honestly. But now he's with the Browns.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Man, the Ravens just took a second fucking quarterback. They got Mason Rudolph. And now they got Luke Falk, who was originally drafted by the Titans. Good luck, Ravens. Might have some tension between. The Ravens might have some tension between Mason Rudolph and Luke Falk and add Joe Flacco to the list. With his job security on the line, perhaps.
The Bills are now on the clock.
So the Eagles take a cornerback. This ends up being MJ Stewart. In real life, got drafted by the Buccaneers.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
The Bills take a cornerback as well. They get the next guy on the list. All these, like the cornerbacks, are just going down the list, I swear. They get Rashawn Golden, who was originally drafted by the Panthers. Cowboys,
The Packers are now on the clock.
defensive tackle. This ends up being Derek Naughty? Derek Naughty? I think I might have fucked up the second letter of what I wrote down. It looks like two N's and then an ADI. An uppercase N, a lowercase N. I might have just fucked that up. It might be two A's, honestly, and I just fucked it up. And it's Derek Naughty, who was originally drafted by the Chiefs. Now he's on the Cowboys. I'll just look it up real quick. No, it's 2 ends. It is 2 ends. Derek Natty? Derek Natty? Packers.
The Titans are now on the clock.
So this ends up being Dedrin Sinnett. He went to the Falcons in real life. Now he's with the Packers. Yeah, two defensive tackles back to back. Packers skipped over a guy to get to this guy.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
The Titans. Man, I can't talk. The Titans take a halfback. This ends up being Rashad Penny. He originally went to the Seahawks, but now he's with the Titans.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
The Eagles take a left guard here. This ends up being Austin Corbett. Austin Corbett. Real life went to the Browns. With the Eagles now.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
All rivals in the Seahawks take a left end. This is Duke Jofer. In real life went to the Texans. Now he's with those Seahawks. Gotta worry about him sacking me now. Maybe, if he's any good. Probably. More than likely not when you're this far down. More than likely not too great. Don't recognize the name.
The Saints are now on the clock.
The Dolphins take a left guard. This is Wyatt Teller, who was originally drafted by the Bills. As we're a few picks into this draft being officially halfway over. You know, right after round 4, pick 16, the draft is halfway over. Wyatt Teller, originally drafted by the Bills, now he's going to the Dolphins.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Ooh. So this ends up being Tim Settle, who was originally drafted by the Redskins. Now he's on his way to the Saints, the Super Bowl defending champions. Defensive tackle.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
It's an SS for the Eagles. This is Deshaun Elliott, who was originally drafted by the Ravens. Now he's off to a different bird team. It's funny how the Eagles chant us "Go Birds" when there's like fucking 8 bird teams in the NFL, it feels like. Sean Elliott. I feel like he might be all right. I don't know. Broncos.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
They take a center. It's been a while since we had one of them. But this is the 5th one to be took. This is Mason Cole, in real life drafted by the Cardinals. On his way to Denver now.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
The Chargers take a cornerback. This ends up being Isaac Yiadom, originally drafted by the Broncos. Chargers now. Jaguars.
Are now on the clock.
Oh. So this is Tracy Walker, originally drafted by the Lions, now to the Jaguars. And the Saints to end the 4th round, the round in the middle.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
They take a left end. This ends up being Aid Aruna, who was originally drafted by the Vikings. To New Orleans you go. Round number 5. Let's at least try and get through half of this. That's what I say.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Cornerback. This is Avante Maddox, who was originally drafted by the Eagles. Now he's with the division rival, the Redskins.
The Bears are now.
The Giants also take a cornerback. Maybe they'll. I mean, we have plenty left. Maybe they'll start flying off the shelves here. This is Perry Nickerson. But a couple guys that were listed right below him get drafted over him. But Perry Nickerson, in real life, drafted by the Jets. So maybe these teams in this game knew what they were doing. Maybe they figured it out, my system here, and knew what they were doing. With the Giants drafting Josh Rosen, though, I don't think it's going to matter too much.
The Colts are now on the clock.
The Bears take a receiver. Okay. Just kind of having a hard time finding my way at this point. Okay. This ends up being a guy named, gosh, I can't even say this first name. Equanimous St. Brown. Not to be confused with the Amon-Ra St. Brown. Equanimous St. Brown. In real life drafted by the Packers. Packers, they sometimes get some weird guys. Can't see I'm familiar with them, so he's probably not too great. But he's going to the Bears. A division rival of the Packers.
The Buccaneers are now on.
A linebacker for the Colts. This is Leon Jacobs, in real life drafted by the Jaguars, now to the Colts.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
Another receiver goes. This ends up being Trey Quinn. In real life drafted by the Redskins, and now he's with the Buccaneers. The Redskins coach, or the Commanders, their coach now, his last name is Quinn. What's his first, like Dan Quinn? No, they got a Trey Quinn right here. Well, not them. In real life, they got a Trey Quinn, but now he's going to the Buccaneers. He's going to Tampa.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Oh wow, the Chiefs took a QB. What an insult to Patrick Mahomes. Well, this is the last QB I got written down. This ends up being Mike White. He was originally drafted by the Cowboys. I don't think Mike White really did much at all. I'm trying to remember who was their quarterback they had to play a little bit last year, a couple years ago, and he did all right. Now I think now he's on the Ravens. I can't even, I mean, that's pathetic of me. I can't even remember his name. I'm just looking up Ravens QBs real quick. Cooper Rush, that's right. I wonder when he gets drafted. But this is Mike White. Mike White going to the Chiefs. I guess just in case Mahomes doesn't work out, we got some middle of the draft, a little later than middle of the draft pick. No, I think you're going to be just fine with Mahomes. So the Bengals, they take a right tackle here. For that offensive line. Uh-oh. I mean, okay, never mind. I was about to be... I thought for a second I was out of right tackles to give them. No, only 4 of them have been picked so far. This is the 4th guy. This ends up being... Chukwuma Okorafor. Originally drafted by the Steelers, now he goes to a division rival in the Bengals.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
The Lions take one of the many cornerbacks that are still left. Just going right down the list with the cornerbacks. This ends up being Taron Johnson, originally drafted for the Bills.
The Rams are now on the clock.
The Ravens take the Chargers take a left end. It ends up being Trevon Young, originally drafted by the Rams.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Someone for the defensive line. Oh wait, no, this is still offensive line. My mistake. Made plenty of them today. It's just confused. It just fucks me up sometimes because the last guy that got drafted was for the defensive line. Trayvon Young going to the Chargers for their defensive line. This is for the offensive line. But I'm out of guys. So, uh-oh. I'm out of guys, so I guess this is gonna just be just a bust. Just a nothing for the Rams. And a lot of the picks that are left here with the 5th, 6th, 7th round are probably going to end up being not much there. Why can't I see the draft board here? Why doesn't this work? Does it only show the players I've drafted? I need to start. Man, I should have been written these down. Who was the last left tackle to get drafted? Andre McAfee. Went to the Packers. I'm going to try and make note of all these players that I have nobody for. They get drafted. I'm thinking it's just these left tackles. And maybe, I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with this fullback player that got drafted. It just depends if someone else gets drafted or not. And also this left tackle, I'm just going to write down L. Watson for the Rams. These are guys I might just have to fucking make their stats the lowest of low or something. Anyway. Like, I just know there's going to be another quarterback that gets drafted at some point. There's without a doubt in my heart, there's going to be another quarterback that gets drafted. Anyway.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Buccaneers. This ends up being Armani Watts, who was originally drafted by the Chiefs. Now the Buccaneers.
The Texans are now on the clock.
The Jets with a right tackle. This is Matt Pryor, in real life drafted by the Eagles, now with the Jets. Yep, what I say. What I tell you. I got no one else for you, Texans, I'm sorry. So add that to the unmatching players drafted. That's what I have written down. H. Watson. Texans. I'm going to run out of space for this one. Of course you got something to say for this.
Here's a player who's been followed by quite the reputation as a wild child during his years in college. Numerous social
I don't have a match for... Yes, I do. Okay, well...
collegiate exploits, submarining his draft stock. Even with his party boy perception, many of my sources told me that this was simply a case of boys will be boys, and not the foreshadowing of a larger issue. Look for this coaching staff to keep him extremely busy, hoping to avoid any unwanted publicity. This task may be easier said than done, especially given all the potential off-field distractions that come with being in the NFL. He has the potential to be his own worst enemy, and should he be unable to focus on the opportunity ahead of him, this pick could end up being one of the biggest busts of the draft.
Well... This ends up being Arden Key, who was drafted by the Raiders in real life, and now he goes to the Broncos. I felt like the Broncos just had a pick. I guess not.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Oh, see, the Broncos take a fullback. Who did I say? I mean, the Browns took a fullback. I think no matter what, this is not in contention for this Nick Baldwin guy. Because I only have Boyle and Pierre Lewis written down for this, so... No, it's just not going to be. So this is just another throwaway pick. Alright, I'm ending the video after this pick.
The Panthers are now on.
Falcons take a halfback. They skipped over a dude who ends up being Ronald Jones, which would have been a very solid pick, especially for the middle of the 5th round. But they get Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon, you know, that's a name that rings a bell. A lot of these names do ring bells, but I don't know if they're going to be anybody great. Kerryon Johnson, originally drafted by the Lions. Now he's going to the Falcons. Alright, I'm going to end this one here. Yeah, that's as much as I wanted to do in an hour and a half. That was my goal. So hopefully the next episode will be the last episode of this draft. See you then.